Everyone wants to talk about Jordan and Sam. Let them, because there's some other guys on this team. They're going to pop, and people are going to be like, wait, when did he get here? Well, he's been here. You've just been focusing on the wrong guy.
We are joined now by ASU's and ESPN's finest, Matt Barrie. Matt, first and foremost, we appreciate you taking the time. Of course, the reigning Big 12 champions, your alma mater, Sam Leavitt, Jordan Tyson, Kenny Dillingham. I just got to know, how does it feel to know that the Sun Devils are so back?
You know, it growing up in Arizona, grew up in Scottsdale, went to Scottsdale, Saguaro, had season tickets to Arizona State my entire life. Grew up with Arizona State football because at the time we didn't have an NFL team, and some would argue we still don't. But the Arizona State, that's it. Like, that was my football life growing up, and we had tastes of it. We had Jake in 97. We had 87 when we beat Harbaugh in Michigan when he was the quarterback there. But it was never sustained. And I got so sick and tired of hearing Sleeping Giant. If I hear Sleeping Giant one more time, I'm going to throw your light kit. Like, I was just tired of it. And then Kenny comes in, and he's one of us. And I think that's really what it took to hopefully untap years of success, was bringing one of us that knows the challenges of the job at Arizona State. To do it in year two, I called the week 3 game. It was a Thursday night game at Texas State. I remember Mullen and I were on the way back to the hotel having our post-game pop, and we were just kind of talking about, 7-5, 8-4 at best. I didn't think that was going to happen. And now that it did, it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that Arizona State, the football that I've loved my entire life, is now relevant in the national scene. But the curse is now it's expected. Yeah. And I think that's the one you want. And I think it's like Kenny's here, and I think it's what he wants. And so that's where we are heading into the 25 season.
So you're a Sun Devil sicko, right?
Yeah,
and I'm sure going through
yeah.
today, you're talking a lot about Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson and X and Kenny, and deservedly so. But I want to give you the opportunity to talk about somebody, a coach, a player on this team that you have not talked about today. Who are you looking forward to that is a sleeping giant on the sleeping giant?
Well done. Raleek Brown.
Ooh.
I'm just telling you that Raleek is the kind of player that, his bona fides coming out of high school. He was a 5-star at USC. He hasn't been unlocked yet. And he could have been unlocked anywhere. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. He stayed for a reason. That's still a crowded running back room. He's the kind of guy that, if healthy, Marcus and Kenny are going to draw up ball plays for him. There's something about that kid that I think that he's going to be the kind of player by week 6. People are going to be like, where the hell did he come from? Because it's there, right? I think another guy that showed flashes, Mateer, the tight end. I mean, he's an imposing-looking human at tight end.
Yeah.
But Jordan gets all the credit, which he should. I think McClain coming back from injury is another guy. So there are a lot of Look, here's what Kenny has going for him. Other than being the hottest young coach in college football when it comes down, was he 35 now?
Yeah.
The best thing he's got going for him is this. He had one of the most singular stars in the sport in Cam Scadaboo. Well, who was right under Scadaboo in terms of star powers that grew? Sam Leavitt, right? So he's been able to develop all these other guys around him because everyone's focused on these two. And that's why it's a great question, because everyone wants to talk about Jordan and Sam. Let them, because there's some other guys on this team. They're going to pop. And people are going to be like, wait, when did he get here? Well, he's been here. You've just been focusing on the wrong guy.
Oh, 1,000%. Look, I think you talk about it, and a lot of people, when they talk about Arizona State, want to focus on Sam coming back. They want to focus on Jordan Tyson coming back, Xavier Alford. How important do you think it was for Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State, though, to retain Marcus Arroyo at OC and Brian Ward as DC?
You know, it's funny. When you ask that question about someone people don't talk about, I was going to talk about the coordinators. Because Brian Ward and Marcus Arroyo, those are two guys. Kenny is to be the free. He'll sit right here and tell you, you're only as good as your coordinators. And Kenny didn't have any head coaching experience. So he needed to surround himself with coaches that had a lot of experience. And those two guys are the ones that make the system go. Arroyo's a brilliant play caller. Brian Ward plays with his hair on fire. And they match what and who Kenny is. And all you need to see relationships with coordinators and the players on the defense that matter, or on the positions that matter. And you look at the relationship Marcus had with Cam and now with Sam Leavitt, right? That's a good marriage. You look at the marriage that Brian Ward had last year with Shamari, and you're telling me that first half of it didn't matter?
Oh, yeah.
And then he gets him back in, and then it's a whole different second half. So point being that when your coordinators have the relationships needed with their stars on their side of the ball and you can retain them, the biggest thing in college sports right now is retaining coaching staffs and players, because everyone's poaching coaches and players. And if you can keep everyone in-house, you're built for success. And I think the best thing Kenny did in the offseason was retain everybody. And we talked about it at that coaches' roundtable. I was like, well, I didn't have to talk to many of my players because they wanted to stay. That's how you win now, and he's done it.
Last one from me, Matt. Thank you for taking
and
time. At the end of a super
I finally
long
get
day.
to play a home game. I've been talking to. I mean, I love my friends from. I say this quietly from like Kansas and all these. But now I'm playing with my home.
Oh
game.
yeah, 100%.
You're always welcome to come
a
on
home
PHNX
game for me.
Sunday. We're home of Sun Devil sickos, man. I mean, everybody just loves this team, and this big theme this year is a lot different from last year, which is respect. As in, this team has it. But I got to be honest with you. There is some disrespect, and you are close to the situation. What do we have to do?
I don't want to. I'm not talking about it.
What do we have to do?
I'm not talking.
What do we have to do,
I don't want to
Matt?
talk about it. I get more text, emails, and tweets about it. I don't want to talk. I get it. I get it. I get it. We should never be confused with the other school. I know it happens. Well, I've had conversations. Look. If I showed you my phone with every time that it happens. And I'm just like, oh my God, not again.
At least you know you're the guy. Like, you're the Arizona State guy.
I know.
Right? Like,
they think that I'm
go
back.
to you.
They think that I'm back there
You're
pressing
pushing
the
the buttons?
graphic buttons.
Yeah. Gosh.
It drives me. I don't want to talk about it.
We think our
Sorry,
Twitter
I think-
feed's
I
bad.
think I just ruined it. I think I just ruined it,
I didn't even
guys.
let you finish the sentence because I knew you
I
were
went
going.
from,
Exactly.
hey, great question, man,
Yeah.
to like, shut up. I don't want to
just
talk
like,
about
I'm never doing it again.
I feel I'm like a battered puppy with that topic because it's like I don't do it. I don't. And it there was one that happened last year, and look, they're my colleagues, but this one, I lost it, and I was like, I sent pretty nasty text about it, and they fixed it, but yeah, trust me.
You're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I am. I'm doing it for all of you out there. Like I get it, I see it, I know it. Got it.
Now it's gonna be hard because you got Arizona State just printed across the chest on the new core uniforms.
Right.
So it should make it a little bit more of a challenge to mess that up. But Matt, before we get you out of here, I feel like I have to ask, the expectations for this season, I think from a media perspective, are super high. I know the team thinks they've got high expectations for themselves. What are your expectations for Arizona State 2025?
It's back in the Big 12 championship game. I mean, it's as simple as that. When you sneak up on people, it's a good story.
Yeah.
Okay. You return 17 starters. You return a star quarterback. You're getting your receiver back. Like, you're returning most of your team. To me, that now says that you are expected to perform at the level you were a year ago. That's what that is. And I've said this a million times. I've said it publicly, and it's the truth. If you want to be considered one of the big programs in college football, if you really believe that you belong among the elite, then you take last year not as a one-off, but as this foundation of what you're trying to build. And they have walked into such a good position. If they were returning 8 starters, I'd say, and if Sam was one of those 8, I'd say, well, guys, they lost a lot. I know the quarterback's coming back, but they got a lot of holes to plug. They don't have that. I get it. Scadaboo's a star, but that running back room is good.
Yeah.
And so for me, for ASU, to be able, if you're going to dabble among the elite, if you're going to get to the college football playoff, and then you were going to return the roster you have, that's the expectation. Because when I'm in there on College Football Saturdays every week for 16 weeks, we're talking about the expectations of Ohio State, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Texas. Well, do you want to be in that conversation? Yeah, because I want you to be talked about with those expectations, and I think that's where they are. Barring any catastrophic injuries, that's always a caveat. You return what you're returning off a season you just had, it's go time again, and I think that's what's going to happen in Tempe.
Well, look, we can't wait for the 2025 season. Matt Barrie can't wait for the 2025 season as well. ESPN's Matt Barrie, we appreciate you taking the time.
Gentlemen, anytime. Appreciate you.